Hello everyone, my name is Mike and this is Matrix to Paradise. I created this channel to document my journey from the Matrix, which was a truck driving job in the United States, to my personal paradise, which is now living overseas, and I am currently in Siem, Cambodia. And sooner or later I'm going to travel to other countries, but for now I'm here and I'm very, very happy here. Anyway, the video today I'm going to do is a breakdown of what I spend a month on my living expenses here. Now, just a quick caveat, your living expenses are going to depend on you. There are some people that can't live here for less than $2,000 a month, and there's some people who can live here on $250 a month. It just depends on you and what your lifestyle is. And if you have a set budget, then I suggest you stick to that budget and don't go over it, or you'll end up going back home. But, I mean, for a normal person, and I think I'm normal, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm a little more or a little less, I don't know, as far as expenses are concerned, I can tell you right now, I spend about between $500 and $600 a month on living expenses, and I'm trying to whittle that down as much as possible, and I've done it a lot since I've been here. And just to let you know, when I first got here, I was eating out a lot because I just, wanted to relax and just kind of sit back and enjoy that I was now retired, and just went out and ate. I went to a Mexican restaurant where you can get pretty much anything there. It's not just Mexican. You can get Khmer food there. You can get breakfast, like an American breakfast. You can get all kinds of stuff there. But I was going there, but they charge you. They charge you for a lot. Like these bottles of water, they'll charge you $2.50 for these big bottles of water. And I can buy these right down the street for 50 cents. So that's a huge difference. So I finally broke down and said, you know what, I got to start getting to my budget, and I did. And what I did was I went down to a local market, and these are like swap meet style markets, and they have everything in there. I mean, absolutely everything. So I went in there and bought kitchen supplies. I bought a Japanese stove burner, and I have a little video to show you at the end of this video to show you my kitchen and my setup in there and the burner I got. Anyway, I got a little camping stove burner that takes these little cartridges of gas. And I also bought a mop and a mop bucket that had the spinner kind that you put in there and you can spin it and it'll spin in there. It has a mechanism in there, just like the ones we have in the United States. And you can spin it and it'll take all the excess water off, whatever. On one side, and the other side, you can dip it back into the water and whatever. But I bought one of those. I bought a nonstick frying pan, a spatula, 2 plates, 2 bowls, 2 butter knives, 2 forks, and 2 spoons from that place. I think that's about it. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, I also bought dish detergent and what else did I buy there? Dish detergent and I don't know, I can't think, but I bought my supplies there. That's pretty much about it right there. And that whole setup there cost me $48. Now I would have listed them off because here's the receipt, but the wording is all in Khmer, and I don't understand what the Khmer is. So so that was my it was 195,000 real, which is $48.75. That's what that whole setup cost me, $48.75 for all that stuff. Now, recently I went to the supermarket, which is, I mean, I'll show you a little video of that too. the supermarket here, right down the road, not too far from my house, about 1.5 miles from my house, that supermarket is just as nice as any supermarket in the United States. In fact, it's probably nicer. It's almost like a luxury place. It's crazy. Now, this is not the regular Kamai markets that are like swap meet markets. This is an actual supermarket. They have air conditioning, the whole 9 yards. And the reason I went there is because I needed to pick up stuff like salt and pepper, which I didn't see in the market, but I'm sure they sell it there somewhere. I just got to go look for it. But I bought salt and pepper. I bought my first set of eggs there, which were about close to the same price as the ones you can get out on the street here. I bought some cheese, which you can't get in the Kamai markets, like American cheese. And no, I didn't buy it because I'm American. I just bought it because they're in slices. They're already sliced up, and you just peel them off and throw them on your bread or whatever. So I bought those. And I'll give you a rundown on what that costs. So I bought 20 eggs, and it cost me $3.40 for the 20 eggs. Now, if I buy them out on the street, it'll only cost me $3. So 20 eggs for $3, that's not bad, considering what you pay for in the United States. Let's see. I bought some pepper, which was really expensive. I bought 2 of these, which will last me probably a year. I bought 2 of those, and it cost me $9. So that's what it cost there. I'm gonna see if I can find it in the Kamai market and see if I can get it cheaper, but I needed it at the time, so I just bought it. I bought Heinz ketchup, which I like Heinz ketchup. And the reason why, not because it's American, but because if you buy Kamai ketchup, it's sweet. It's not salty like, I like salty ketchup, not sweet ketchup. So I bought this, and that cost me, I don't think I'm gonna be buying that much, but I'm gonna try and stretch that out because that cost me $3.50 American. I bought the corn oil. That cost me a lot, $4.50 for that corn oil. So I'm sparingly using that too. I'm sure I could buy that in the Kamai market. I just didn't see it when I was there. The salt, believe it or not, was pretty cheap. It was only $1.10, and I bought this thing of salt right here. So that'll last me a long time. So that only cost me $1.10. The cheese was really expensive, so I might not be eating my stuff with cheese anymore. I bought, which is, if you're in the United States, you kind of know what I'm talking about when you buy those little packs of Kraft American cheese. They're about that square, and they're about that thick. And I bought a package that had 4 of those in there, and it cost me $11.80. So pretty close to the price you'd pay in the United States, which is, I don't want to pay that much, so I probably won't be using that anymore. These tissues I bought, these are $1 a piece. Now there's 2 sides to that, so actually I got one right here that's full. These only cost $1 for a pack of these, and these last forever. So it only costs $1 for that. And I bought 2 of them, and they'll last for a long, long time. So those are really cheap. What else did I buy? I bought a big loaf of sandwich bread, and the sandwich bread usually lasts me about a week, and I paid $1.20 for that. And I can get those for they're about the same price if you buy them outside the supermarket. If you buy them in somebody that has a bread store or something, they're about the same price. I bought a toilet brush that cost me $4.70, but that's only a one-time payment, so I won't have to buy any more of those. Let's see. I bought some toothpicks. A packet of toothpicks cost me $1. A big thing of toothpicks lasts me a long time, so no big deal with that. I bought some scouring pads in the kitchen. You'll see those in the next video, or the video that I'm going to put on this. Those cost me $1.70 for like 6 or 7 of those. It was totally a good deal. And I bought 3 towels, like towels to wipe off stuff and all that. And I bought 3 of those, and those were about $1.70 a piece. So I bought those. $1.70 a piece, yeah, right in there. So I won't be buying any more of those. So that's an expense that I won't have to buy. But that was just some of the extra, and that whole total was, not because I bought the cheese, which was very expensive. The whole total was $63.75. Now, some of the stuff in there I'll never buy again. I won't need to. But I probably won't be going back to the supermarket that much. I just went there because I had to get some stuff that I hadn't found. But I really need to go to the local swap meet style Kamai market and find all the other stuff that I need to find. So I don't want to spend $63 at the supermarket. So let me itemize my actual living expenses, and I'll break this down. This is going to include everything, like my apartment, everything that I spend out every month on everything. So to start off with, my apartment is $130. That's just your basic apartment. It's air conditioned. It's sealed in this room, which is a studio room. And then I have my kitchen and my bathroom in here, but they're closed off. So, and if you look behind me, you can see above the door and above the window, there are slits up there. Now, normal Kamai people usually have those to vent out, but since they were gonna rent these out to foreigners and everybody else, they were gonna have air conditioning in here, which they didn't have before. They seal those up, and you can see that there's windows, like non-opening windows stuffed in there so that they can't leak out your air conditioning. And I have a sliding glass door between my kitchen and my actual room here, because there are slits out there. That's how they vent out for your cooking and for the bathroom. There's slits in the bathroom too that vent out. Anyway, that's how they do it here in Cambodia. Now, if you were to get an apartment that's more expensive than this, you could get an apartment that doesn't have the slits in it and all that, and it wasn't a Kamai apartment before I got here. They will have totally modern stuff with a modern stove, a big refrigerator. I only have a small refrigerator, like an apartment style refrigerator, and they have full-size refrigerators and cooking stoves and microwaves, the whole 9 yards. You can get all that, you're just gonna pay extra for it. Anyway, so my apartment's $130. My electric, that depends on the month, but usually it's right around $70 a month. I can get that lower. I'm gonna buy a big fan, a stand-up fan, which they're pretty cheap here. Buy a stand-up fan and use that, because that takes up less than the air conditioner that's up there. And I'm gonna try and whittle that down more, because you can get that down pretty far if you don't run the air conditioner a lot. But for now, I'm using the air conditioner, and it costs me about $70 a month. So then water, they charge you for water, but it's only like $5, so it's not that big of a deal. I do rent a motorcycle. It's just a little Honda PCX, and it costs 150 cc motorcycle, and I spend $70 a month on that. I do have YouTube Premium on my channel, so I can watch YouTube stuff without interruption, and that's $20. Now that's $20 that I could get rid of if I wanted to, but I kind of don't like watching commercials, so I end up paying for that. When I came over here, I was expecting to just get a SIM card and put it in my phone and all that, but when I got here, I realized the iPhone 15 that I have doesn't have a SIM card slot. There's no more SIM cards anymore that you just insert. You now have what they call eSIMs. So it's just basically a virtual SIM card. However, you can't call back to the States or back to UK or Canada or wherever you're from, Australia. You can't call back there with that, with the local service here. So I kept my Verizon plan, but it wasn't the same plan that I had in the United States. I have a Verizon international plan that allows me to call back to the States so that I can talk to my credit union that I use, and I can call my family back there if I want to. It's easy, very easy. Now, some people will say, well, you can call your family on WhatsApp and all that for free. Of course I can, but you can't call your bank. And if you ever have a problem with your bank, where your credit card gets denied or your debit card gets denied or any of that kind of stuff, you're gonna wish you had an international plan. So now some people do it differently, but I want to do this. I want to keep it. It just keeps my peace of mind. So that's $89 a month, which is not too bad. I was paying like $120 when I was in the States, so this is cheaper. So now every month I spend about $18 in eggs. So I'm usually thinking, since eggs cost me about $3 and I use 4 eggs a day. So, I was thinking I probably will use 5 different sets of 20 eggs, so 100 eggs, and I came up with $18 a month, basically. Maybe not 100 eggs, but $18 a month in eggs. Bread, I came up with $7 for bread because usually it lasts me about 6 days, right in that area, and so every time I get a loaf of bread, it costs me $1.20 somewhere in there, and or $1.25, right in that area. And so I figured about $7. The cheese, now I could cut the cheese out, but that cost me about it was $11.88 at the supermarket, so I rounded it off to $12. So I'm including this in my budget, but I'm thinking about getting rid of that because I don't need it. Ketchup, because I like putting ketchup on a lot of stuff. It's about $4. That'll last me a whole month. Cooking oil, about $5. That'll last me all month. Bottled water, about $30 a month because I usually drink about 2 of these a day, and they're 50 cents a piece. So I keep, because I work out and I drink a lot of water. So I usually drink about 2 of these. They're 1.5 liter bottles, so that's not too bad. 3 liters of water a day, it's not too bad. Gas for my motorcycle. Now, usually I don't travel that far. I usually spend about $6 a month, but I rounded it up to $12 a month just in case I take a trip somewhere, and sometimes I do. So I just threw on an extra tank of gas. So about $12 a month, which is nothing compared to the gas I was using back home. My visa, my long-term visa for being in Cambodia is $30 a month. So I don't pay it every month, I pay it once a year, but I'm calculating $30 a month for visas. My gym membership costs me $30 a month. And somebody asked me why do I go to a gym and not just walk or do whatever, do calisthenics? Because I like using weights. I like resistance training. So now I could cut that out and save another $30. So that's neither here nor there, but it could be a possibility in the future. Because I don't necessarily need to go to the gym, but I like to go to the gym. So that's a like, not a need. So if I needed to get down to needs, I could cut that $30 out a month. And then I threw in $50 for miscellaneous, because you never know, you might break something, you might need to do something else, you might buy a gift for people. Like just the other day when I went to the supermarket, I picked up the family that I hang out with at the coffee shop, the people that own the coffee shop. They have 2 little kids there. One's 10 and one's 7. So when I was at the supermarket, I bought some chocolate for them, some M&Ms. And, I spent a little extra on that. So, and they were expensive, believe me. But I spent a little extra on that for them because they do so many favors for me. They make food for me when I don't even ask for it. They just, the husband, the father of the two kids, he cooks all the time. So sometimes when I'm there, he brings me out stuff that I haven't had before, and I tell him he doesn't have to do that, but he does. So I feel the need to give back, So miscellaneous stuff like that, and I buy, a coffee drink there, which is like $1, and what do you call it? Like an iced coffee, milk coffee. I buy some of those there, and I buy all my water from them because they have water there, and it's cheap. So that's other miscellaneous stuff that I might get there. So I throw an extra $50 in there. So now adding all that stuff up, I came up with $582. So, there are stuff in there that I could cut back on. I'm gonna change. I'm not gonna just eat the same thing, eggs and toast and stuff like that forever. I'll change that up too, and it might change the prices a little bit, but not too much. Because also when you go to the market, the Khmer markets, you can get meat there. You can get all kinds, vegetables. You can get fruits, all kinds of cool stuff. Like the coffee shop I go to, she has a blender and she makes up like avocado shakes and any kind of fruit shake that you want. That if you bring, she doesn't have it all there, but if I bring in, sometimes I'll stop on the side of the road because they sell fruits and all kinds of stuff. That's where I get my eggs, down on the river road. There's a river road down there on both sides, and they sell stuff down there. Just people selling stuff, and I buy my eggs there. It's so weird because I looked this up online about the eggs, and in America we have white eggs because they bleach them, and we have to keep them in the refrigerator. But brown eggs that haven't been bleached, you don't have to keep them in the refrigerator, and they taste the same. So I don't know what the purpose of bleaching them, but I guess if you do bleach them, you got to keep them in the refrigerator. If they're not bleached, they can sit out for a long, long time. So I just bring my eggs home and stick them in the kitchen in those plastic containers I have in there, and they stay good for as long as I have them. So that's one difference from here that is different from the United States. But anyway, so yeah, I'll be switching up my diet, and sometimes I'll go out and won't cook eggs and stuff here, and I'll go out and just eat Khmer food, which is very, very cheap if you go to if you don't go downtown to the popular places downtown, because they charge Western prices down there. But you can go to, oh my God, there are some, the street food here is out of this world. But anyway, I was going to tell you about the little fruit stuff I make, I'll go by and there'll be mangoes or papayas or pineapples already peeled and put in bags and everything, and I'll buy some of that and I'll take it up to the coffee shop and she'll blend it up into a shake for me with ice and all that. So, it's just wonderful. But anyway, so like I said, I came up with $582. Now, I'm going to try and whittle that down further because I know I could live cheaper. I'm not going to get it to the point where I'm going to be uncomfortable, but it's just trying to stick to a budget. That's all it is. It's trying to stick to a budget and see how disciplined I can get myself. And I'm not saying that there aren't some months that I might spend more because I want to go have some beers, or I want to go do this, or I want to go do that. You can do that. It's really cheap to go to the movies here. It's really cheap to do everything here if you know the right places to go to. Like I'm saying is, if you stay out of the tourist areas, usually you can get stuff very, very cheap. You can get it just like what Khmer people pay, and you go to the markets, you might be a little freaked out because like the meat is outdoors and it's not in a cooler or whatever. But, you know, it is what it is. If you can't deal with that, then buy your stuff from the supermarket. But you can wash it when you get home and put it in the refrigerator, do whatever you want, or cook it up right then. Just like back home, you should cook your meat thoroughly and make sure it's there. You know, you get anything else. There could be parasites in it here as well as in any other country in the world. So, including the United States. So you got to cook it properly, and you're fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You can wash it when you get here. If there had been flies on it or whatever, who cares? And I suggest that even if you go to the United States and buy food, or you're in the UK and buy food, you need to wash your fruits and vegetables. You need to wash your meat, or prepare it properly. If it's not packaged, you can buy packaged meat here. You can buy packaged hamburger. You can buy packaged everything you can imagine at the supermarket, but you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay high for it, big time. So if you're coming here on the cheap, which this is one of the cheapest countries on the planet, I'm sure of it. Unless you go to someplace in Africa or something like that, you may get it cheaper. But here is very safe, very nice, very cheap, if you want to be cheap. But like I said, everybody's budget is going to depend on their proclivities. So I would suggest thinking long and hard about how you want to live here, how much money you have to spend here if you come to Cambodia, because I can only speak for Cambodia right now, and then decide how you can live. And all of these prices are negotiable. I mean, you can get a cheaper apartment, you can use less electricity, water is about the same. You don't have to rent a moto. You can take tuk-tuks if you go that far, or you can walk, because it's not a huge town. You don't have to have YouTube Premium. You don't have to have international calling back to the States or back to the UK or whatever. You don't have to have that, but I would suggest you get it. But I mean, I want it. Eggs are about the same. You're going to spend the same for eggs and bread, and you don't have to have cheese. You don't have to have Heinz ketchup. Cooking oil you need. You can get it cheaper at the Khmer markets, I'm sure. Bottled water, 50 cents. You're going to need water here because it's very hot here. If you don't have a moto, you don't have to pay for gas for it. Visa, you're going to have to pay for because you have to pay that to be in the country. Gym, you don't need, and the miscellaneous is, whatever. So I might do another video about startup costs here, which I did list my startup for my kitchen, but I can do another startup cost thing just to let you know how much I really spent just to start up here, and I can go into that. Another person asked me a question in one of the comments. They asked me, and this is totally off subject, but I'm going to answer it here. I answered him in the comments, but I'm going to answer it here. He asked me, where's the video about getting laid in Cambodia? Well, I just replied back and said, I'm really not into that here. I'm not. I'm not into prostitution. I never have been. And since I just got over a divorce about 7 years ago, I haven't really had the want or need to get involved in a relationship here. Anywhere. Now here, if you want to get involved in a relationship, you can. Don't get me wrong. If you want to just go out and get quick fun, you can get it here in certain parts of town, but they're few and far between. So you're going to have to go searching for it. It's here, but I don't go searching for it, and I don't want it. This is not like Thailand. This is not like Bangkok, and this is not like Pattaya or Angeles City in the Philippines. It's nothing like that. This is a very conservative country. Women here are looking to get married if they're young, and if they're not young, they probably have kids, and so you're going to be in that long-term relationship thing if you get involved with a girl here. Now, I said in an interview with Dan from Vagabond Awake, I told him that I'm not really searching for anything. I'm kind of happy on my own right now. If the right girl comes along and we click and we can communicate decently, then I might consider it. But I'm not really looking for that. If it comes along and she wants to travel with me and do all that kind of thing, then it might work out. But I'm not really looking for that. Do I have needs? Yes, of course. But you know what? I can hold that off until I find the right girl. I kind of want to have a connection with a girl before I do anything with her that's more intimate. That's how I stand. It's just the way it is. Now, you can find all that stuff here. You can. It's just not prevalent here because, like I said, this is a very conservative country. Most of what you'll find, if you want that kind of lifestyle, you can go right down to Pub Street. Pub Street's the main party spot in town here. And most of what you'll find down there that are ready and willing are foreign girls. Western girls that come here partying and want to have a good fling. You'll find that down there, no problem. There are some Khmer girls down there that are working, but very few. It's not like you can spot them like you can in other places, and it's not highlighted here, not at all. So if Cambodia is where you want to come, don't think it's going to be the hookup hub. It's not going to be. However, like I said, there are plenty of Western women who come here, and I'm sure you could find some down there. But anyway, that's the end of that. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them. That's pretty much where I'm at as far as budget right now, and I will let you know in a future video what I believe the startup costs to come here, and get back to you on that. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a good night, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, here is my kitchen. It's not much of a kitchen, but this is what I have. I bought a gas stove, a little Japanese gas stove that works good. You go and take these canisters, and they last for a couple weeks, and then you go out and you get replacements. You can buy those anywhere, and they're cheap. The whole setup, I bought dish soap and corn oil and all this other stuff. I have scrub pads so I can scrub that sink. That sink was permanently stained, but it was kind of gross before I cleaned it all out. And those dishes are dishes that I don't use. I just leave them in here. If I ever had to use them, then I would clean them up and use them, but those are extras. Right here are the slits that go outside. So this is the venting that goes outside. These slits in the wall here. That's why we have a glass door between the apartment and the bathroom. The bathroom has also got slits in it for ventilation. So there's all my stuff here. And so I come in here and I cook my eggs. I put the eggs shells in that bag there and just close them up and then throw them out when it gets full. Those are my egg canisters. I got those eggs from the supermarket. So now when I go out and buy eggs from the local vendors, I have these things to put the eggs in, and I can carry them around underneath the seat on my motorbike. So that's what I do there. That's the oil I use. And then I just make my eggs here, and that's about it. I can cook anything. I cook bacon in there. I cook whatever meat I want in there. Cook potatoes if I want. Anything. So that's the setup in here, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.